Hey parents, before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about something I'm really excited about. The What is the Book of series is almost complete. 45 volumes covering every chapter of every book of the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, written for teens and young adults in a way that's honest, conversational, and always pointing to Jesus. And here's what I want you to think about. Summer's almost here. The kids and teens in your congregation are about to have a lot of free time. What if your church library had something on the shelf they'd actually want to pick up? Several churches have already added the complete Bible bundle to their library, and if you do the same, I'll send you a free digital copies, the PDF and the EPUBs, of every book in the series. That means your church gets the physical set for the shelf and digital copies for you to have on your own. And if you order before Memorial Day, I'll throw in 3 bonus books: What is the Story of the Church? What was the Intertestamental Period? And What are the World Religions? That's 48 books instead of 45. Head over to starttofinish.org and grab the complete Bible bundle, or follow the link in the episode show notes. Summer's coming. Give your kids something worth reading. All right, let's get into it. The Hey Eddie podcast is brought to you by Need to keep something secure? Call Roman Guard Security Company. We've got huge stones. We've got trained soldiers. We've got official government seals. When you hire Roman Guard Security, nothing gets in or out. We have the perfect record of... Wait, what's this? A customer complaint? Tomb was empty Sunday morning, stone rolled away, guards found sleeping, body missing. Okay, so we have one bad review, but in our defense, it was... Look, nobody could have predicted... Roman Guard Security Company is permanently closed. Turns out you can't guard against the power of God. Who knew? This is the Hey Eddie podcast. I'm your host, Cousin Michael. The Hey Eddie podcast is dedicated to helping kids like my cool cousin Eddie learn about the Bible and learn important lessons about God, about Jesus, and about life. The Bible is indeed God's gift to kids, a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. On today's episode of the Hey Eddie podcast, we're going to be studying Mark chapter 16 in a lesson titled Sunday Morning. This lesson will teach us that Jesus is alive. He rose from the dead, just like he promised, and now the question is, what will you do with this news? Our key memory verse is Mark chapter 16, verse 6. Don't be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. Hey Eddie, remember what I told you last time? The darkest day was over. Jesus had died on the cross. His body was wrapped in cloth and laid in a tomb. A huge stone was rolled in front of the entrance. The sun set. The Sabbath began. Everything looked hopeless. But I also told you something else. I said, Sunday is coming. Well, guess what, Eddie? It's Sunday, and everything is about to change. When the Sabbath was over, as soon as they possibly could, 3 women went to buy spices: Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome. These were women who had followed Jesus all the way from Galilee. They had watched him die. They had seen where he was buried. Now they wanted to do one last thing for him: anoint his body with sweet-smelling spices. It was a way of showing love and respect. Very early on the first day of the week, Sunday, just as the sun was coming up, they headed for the tomb. But as they walked, they realized they had a problem. Who will roll the stone away from the entrance of the tomb? Remember that stone? It was huge, over 1,000 pounds. There was no way these 3 women could move it by themselves. They didn't have a plan. They just went anyway because they loved Jesus that much. But when they got there and looked up, the stone was already rolled away. The women walked into the tomb, and they saw something that made their hearts stop. Sitting on the right side was a young man dressed in a white robe. This wasn't just some random guy. White robes were worn by angels and heavenly beings. This messenger had come from God. The women were alarmed, scared, shocked. But the young man said, "Don't be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. Yes, that's exactly who they were looking for. Their teacher, their friend, the one who had been killed on a Roman cross just 2 days before. And then came the words that changed everything. He has risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him. Wait, what? He has risen? The women looked at the place where Jesus' body had been laid. The stone bench was empty. The grave clothes were there, but the body was gone. Jesus wasn't dead anymore. He was alive. The young man wasn't finished. He had a job for the women to do. Go tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you. Did you catch that? His disciples and Peter. Why mention Peter separately? Because Peter had denied Jesus 3 times. Peter had said, I don't know him. Peter probably felt like the biggest failure in the world. But Jesus hadn't forgotten Peter. Jesus wasn't angry at Peter. Jesus wanted Peter to know, you're still one of mine. Come meet me. I'm going ahead of you. And where was Jesus going? Back to Galilee, where it all began, where Jesus had called his first disciples, where he had taught and healed and performed miracles. It was time for a new beginning. Now here's where Mark's story takes a surprising turn. You'd expect the women to run out of that tomb shouting for joy, right? You'd expect them to find the disciples immediately and tell them the amazing news. But that's not what Mark says. Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. Wait, they said nothing? They were too afraid? And that's where Mark's gospel ends. It seems like a strange way to finish, doesn't it? No happy reunion, no seeing Jesus, just frightened women running away in silence. But here's the thing, Eddie. We know the story didn't end there. We know the women eventually did tell the disciples. We know the disciples did see Jesus. We know the good news spread all over the world because you and I are talking about it right now, 2,000 years later. So why does Mark end his story this way? Maybe because he wants us to finish it. The women were afraid to speak. The disciples had run away. But the news got out anyway. Someone had to tell. Someone had to be brave. And now the question is, will you tell the story? Let's slow down and think about what actually happened that Sunday morning. 1. Jesus really died. He was crucified. He was buried. The Roman soldiers made sure he was dead. Pilate confirmed it. This wasn't a trick or a mistake. 2. Jesus really rose. The tomb was empty. The stone was rolled away. An angel announced it. And later, hundreds of people saw Jesus alive with their own eyes. 3. God kept his promise. Jesus had predicted 3 times that he would be killed and rise again on the third day, and it happened exactly like he said. When Jesus makes a promise, he keeps it. 4. Death is not the end. The worst thing that could ever happen, the Son of God being murdered, became the best thing that ever happened. Because of the resurrection, death does not win. Life wins. Hope wins. Love wins. 5. There's forgiveness for everyone. Peter denied Jesus 3 times, but Jesus still wanted to see him. The disciples ran away, but Jesus still called them his disciples. No matter how badly you mess up, Jesus offers you a fresh start. So what does this mean for you? Eddie, this is the most important news in the history of the world. Jesus is alive. He's not just a story from long ago. He's not just a good teacher who died. He rose from the dead. He conquered death. And because he lives, everyone who trusts in him will live too. The stone was rolled away, not so Jesus could get out, but so the women could look in and see that he was already gone. The tomb is empty. Death couldn't hold him. And here's the question Mark leaves us with. What are you going to do with this news? The women were afraid to tell anyone, but eventually someone did, and someone told someone else, and the story spread across the whole world. Now it's your turn. You know the story. You know Jesus died for you. You know he rose again. Will you believe it? Will you follow him? Will you tell others? That's how the story continues, Eddie, through people like you. This has been the Hey Eddie podcast. I'm your host, Cousin Michael. Remember that the Hey Eddie podcast is dedicated to studying the Bible and learning important lessons about God, about Jesus, and about life. Today we discussed Mark chapter 16. Tune in soon for another episode of the Hey Eddie podcast, where we'll study 1 Samuel chapters 1 through 3. Love you, Eddie.